Welcome to the feature overview for the upcoming Stratagus version 3.0. This version introduces multiple new features and fixes bugs, both in the games as well as in the engine. One of the larger changes is that Stratagus updated its rendering backend. We have switched from the deprecated STL version 1.2 to STL version 2, which gives improved compatibility with new hardware, display technologies like Wayland, support for mobile operating systems, and input methods such as touchscreens and on-screen keyboards. We have also removed a lot of legacy code for handling graphics and audio files and are now delegating these concerns to the well-maintained STL libraries. This allows us to support a wider range of audio and graphics formats in the future. As part of the transition to STL2, we addressed issues with the rendering of Stratagus. With 4K screens more and more common, the way Stratagus handles resolutions had to change. In the past, we would always render the game assets one-to-one at the output resolution. So with higher resolutions, the UI would get smaller and smaller. We have now disassociated the output resolutions from the game resolution. You can select the resolution you want the game to render at, and it will keep that resolution regardless of the size of your window or desktop. This is akin to how many other modern games handle this issue. Disassociating output from rendering resolution means we may have to scale between the two. By default, this is done using a linear scale to preserve the pixel art as well as possible. However, we made it possible to use pixel shaders from the popular RetroArch project as well. A few shaders are included by default, but others can be added simply by copying them into your game folder. For example, use a CRT shader to take the edge of the pixels a little bit and smooth them over, or use XBRZ to scale up and anti-alias the pixel art while preserving details. Specific to Warcraft, we have improved keyboard navigation to be closer to the original. Fade-in animations during the campaign splash screens have also been added. In-game, we have improved the pathfinding and target selection of the AI. This comes in handy when you ask units to attack ground. Before, they would select a target near the attack position and keep hitting it until destroyed, even when a more dangerous target came along. You would leave your knights attacking a barracks and come back to see the knights all killed by a lone axe thrower that spawned from the barracks because they would not have changed the target. No more. The units now properly remember the area they are supposed to attack in and reevaluate which target to attack regularly. We also added an option to have nice animated shadows for flying units. It's not enabled by default, however, because it may be a bit distracting. For Warcraft, we have improved the graphics extraction to bring out the original pixel graphics better. Warcraft 1 used assets of 320 by 200 resolution in DOS, but rendered them using non-square pixels at 640 by 480. We now do the same. Shaders are also available in Warcraft, of course. A CRT shader looks very nice with the stretched graphics. We have finished animating the campaign briefings and victory steps. Now you can properly feel the pressure put on you by the king, and despair when the orcs lay waste to your army. Another improvement for Warcraft 1 is in the map editor. The map editor still needs a lot of work, and unfortunately the Warcraft 1 tileset wasn't designed for a convenient editing experience. There are many decorative tiles, but not enough tiles to automatically blend different terrain types in all directions. Our editor didn't support this and expects Warcraft 2 style tilesets where terrains can be automatically blended in arbitrary directions. For Warcraft, we now at least have a mode to disable the automatic blending of terrain, so that manual work can be done after the rough design of the map is finished to touch up any issues. This is especially important for dungeon maps that really have to be laid out manually. We have added a way to get lumber in dungeon maps by adding a custom dungeon entrance building. Its icon is that of a gold mine, please ignore that for now. That will be fixed in a future update. The idea of the dungeon's entrance building is that your workers can now step out of the dungeon, collect wood from the forest outside, and bring it back. Finally, the big new feature available to all Stratagus games, online gaming. Stratagus has always had classic peer-to-peer multiplayer gaming, but now we support a modified PvPGN online gaming server where players can create an account, chat, and join in games. There is limited support for establishing peer-to-peer connections across different networks. So, like the original Warcraft 2 Battle.net edition or Diablo 1, you may have to open a game port on your router to establish a connection successfully. If you're playing games in local networks or virtual local networks such as when using Hamachi, games are now automatically discovered, so you no longer need to manually enter the IP of the server. This concludes the feature overview for Stratagus 3.0.
Welcome to the world of Warcraft.